I'd like to welcome you to the Romo-Comica Railroad. We're getting set for the NMRA demonstration today. Here you see our track shiner being pushed by an S1. We have our track blower by an NW2. We've made the unit. And very shortly you will see the track sweeper that we're also using. We find it much easier, here's that sweeper, we find it much easier to do this type of operation rather than try and go around and clean this layout by hand, because there's two 750-foot mains. We've had to put a rheostat on this unit, because if not, we'll not only blow the twigs off the layout, we will also blow the ballast off the layout. This unit works very, very well. Here, of course, is the shiner. We run this around several times because it helps us clean the tops of the rails for people using track power. Personally, we run track power and we run battery power. Basically, the layout is level. Here comes John's S's Pacific. It's the battery powered. It has the Revo system in and the Revo sound system. Pulling 25 cars. The cars are all KD equipped, body mounted, steel wheels and ball bearings in the the journals. Runs very well, and because the layout's flat, we have pulled some very long trains on this layout. On the left you can see Nico's custom painted FAFB set along with the cars that he did. It's a very nice train, runs very smoothly. Again, it has a Revo unit in it, running on track power. The track power we provide is 21.6 volts DC with 25 amps power. The power supply is circuit broken on both sides of the system, so that if we do trip something, everything is protected. We now have this connected to our camera truck, which is basically a spring-loaded truck with a mount for a small video camera. We stop it, and now you get to see Nico's train. Again, a beautiful train that he did. Runs very nicely, very nice sound system. And on the left you see Paul getting set to fire up a live steam locomotive. Nico is running on the inside main. Paul will be running on the outside main.
Not on purpose. Unless these aren't insulated.
Way in the background, if you see it, is John S.'s freight train, which will be coming up through the S's. Here it comes up through the S's now. This is an Aristocrat Pacific with the Revo system and a track Revo. Although right now he's using a battery on it because he has a switch for it, and the sound system is Revo. And here comes Jack the Giant Killer, or the Giant. We now have the camera car going down the line. Again, on the left you can see Paul working on a steam engine. Nico's son is helping him. On the right you see another Mikado, an egg liner, the track shiner, the blower, and the sweeper. And coming up is an NW2 on the staging track, the westbound staging track, 44-ton on the staging track, and the car gets converted and placed on the staging track. Here comes John's Pacific again. Beautiful unit. Nice sound system. And that's coming out of the middle loop, so effectively he's going into past the classification yard. We're now going underneath the access bridge to the middle loop, and you can see the tank cars on the left. It's a mini storage area. It has two storage tracks plus one stub track. It's a very unique yard, but it's meant for operations. Now we're coming down the inner main line, going past the classification yard. On the left you can see the other ones. We came by this the opposite direction on the track on the left. And there's those locomotives we saw before. The cars on the left are in the classification yard. The classification yard can actually handle about 200 freight cars. That's Nico operating one of the Revo controlled trains with that little unit in his hand. We're coming up behind John S.'s freight car with his beautiful Lehigh Valley caboose. And now we're running down the inner loop going through the S's. You can see John's freight train way in the background. If you're wondering why you see different color ballasts, we've been trying different ballasts on this layout. We've actually settled into this light colored one. Seems to be the best one. It's like a 1/4 inch sharp edge stone. We were using a crusher fine, but that didn't seem to work as well. Plus the cats like to dig in it, which is not a lot of fun. Here on the left you can see John's freight train. We're now going into the the lower loop, and these trains now are roughly 6 feet off the ground. The layout is level, the ground is not. We're catching up to John's train, and we're coming into it now. John's backing up for a little bit of operation, that's why we had to stop. Now pulling ahead, and we will continue pulling ahead with him. You can see how long John's train is from here. The Pacific is all the way down. There's 25 cars in this freight. John's picking up speed, so he's pulling away. Going through the S's to the upper loop. You can see the classification yard just slightly to the right of that train now. Where you see all those people standing is where we're going to be putting in a passenger station. Hopefully this summer, but we still have to figure out the logistics of it. This is where the old bridge was. You have to replace that this year. Again, starting in this area here is where we will be putting in the passenger station. There will also be a service track installed so people can do their staging without tying up a main line. Going by the staging track on the right, the 2 locomotives. And again, in the background, you can see John's train now going underneath the access bridge to the middle loop. Picking up speed. These tank cars, you can see this unique switch on the left. And we can put a couple of cars underneath the bridge, and there's a reason for that, just to make it a serviceable thing. And there's John's train in the background. There's that live steamer from Paul. Then we're coming down the inner loop going past the westbound staging track in the classification yard. Again, on the right is where that passenger station is going to be. Here's Paul firing up his boiler again. Apparently it blew out in the wind, so he's starting it up again and pulling his train away. Coming up again behind John S.'s freight train. In the lower loop, you may see some slight rises and falls in the track. Irene, Sandy, and Lee devastated this layout. Trees fell all over, damaged the benchwork, damaged track. So there are some unevenness in the trains themselves. We're just happy we got it back to the point where it's running. If we run into that kind of a storm again, I don't think we have enough supplies to repair the railroad. This is John's train going through the S's. Coming up on the left, you may see at the old cinder blocks, that's where the railroad bridge used to be. To access the classification yard, we have to replace it. The winter was just too rough on the bridge and it just fell apart. Catching up to John's train again. This original film for this production was 58 minutes long. We've had to cut it back. Again, going through the S's. Going down now, the area again on the left will be where the passenger station is, plus the staging yard for the big locomotives and live steam. underneath the access bridge again. One thing I forgot to mention when we go underneath this bridge, when we go by these oil cars, just about in the middle of where we're going to be right now, there's going to be a left-hand number 4 switch going to a stub yard, electrically isolated staging area for all other trains other than live steam and the big wheelbase locomotives. Again, that's so that we can have people set up their stuff without tying up a main. Coming up again on the back end of John's train with that beautiful Lehigh Valley caboose. Pulling away now. The new bridge will be right about here. Going through the S's in the opposite direction. We're going down to the lower loop, accelerating now. Going under the bridge again. And coming past that tank storage farm, and also where we're going to have access to the other staging area. This was actually a real fun day. I enjoyed the people coming from the Pocono Mountain Garden Railway Society. They're very nice people. They have very nice equipment and very knowledgeable. And the NMRA members were very, very friendly. It was actually a good day. We enjoyed it. Didn't have any rain, and it wasn't too overly hot. We're going to have more runs this year, and we will let you know when we're doing it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if there's anything you'd like to see in the future, do us a favor and just let us know. We'll try and do the best we can for you. Again, there's John's Pacific. We loved it. Have a great day. Enjoy G-Scale Radio.